Good morning, everybody. We are back, and it's kind of a rainy day here in South Florida. We are in our studio in North Palm Beach, but we're broadcasting and televising, I guess is a word, streaming, the better word, all over the country, all over the world. We've been doing this for about 20 years, and it's unique. I say that every week because if you haven't heard the show before, you haven't heard a car dealer who is a reformed consumer advocate, and that's me, and that's this team here in the studio that is actually going out and visiting other car dealerships who have not gotten the message yet about the way the retail business should be done when you're selling a product. And we've been doing this trying to warn you how to avoid being ripped off and taken advantage of. I like to think we've done a pretty good job of it, and we have a great following. The audience that we built here is more of a part of the show than I sometimes say we're preaching to the choir because most of our listeners seem to be very well educated and actually give as many hints and tips about how to avoid being ripped off by a car dealer as we do. But I sometimes get carried away because I love to talk about what we do, and so does Rick Kearney here, who is our certified diagnostic master technician, who talks about how to repair your car without being ripped off or how to maintain your car. And of course, Nancy Stewart, my co-host. So if we get to yak, we shut up quickly when a call comes in. And I'm going to give you a number that we will give out repeatedly. And we're on the air for 2 hours. Remember, 8 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. And that's 2 hours of yak. And we know you're not going to listen to the whole show. I mean, you've got a lot of other things to do on a Saturday morning. So people tune in and they tune out. If you'd write this number down, it would be helpful because you might get away from the radio or the YouTube or the Facebook or wherever you're watching or listening to us, and you want the number. So that number to call us is 877 960 9960. 877 960 9960. Please write it down. And if you have a comment, criticism, anything that you'd like to contribute, we found that your contributions actually, equally are up to what we advise on this show. And we have some advisors out there that are extremely well informed. YouTube, particularly, youtube.com/Earl on Cars. Rick Kearney has a group that follows him every week, and his callers are just extremely informed. And especially about the mystery shopping report, which is something else I have to mention because nobody does this as far as I know. You remember the old Mike Wallace 60 Minutes piece where Mike Wallace would go into a business and stir up everything, grab the CEO and start asking him embarrassing questions and talking about things that maybe this company was doing they shouldn't be doing. I wish they continued to do that. They didn't, but we do because we walk into car dealerships every week, and we will today, and we do every week, and we mainly in Florida, mainly South Florida, but we hit other states too. We have an undercover agent, code name Agent Lightning. And she goes in and pretends to buy or lease a car. Now, where are you going to see that or hear about that on any other media? Right here at Earl on Cars, every week we do a mystery shopping report. We name names, we name the dealership, and then we grade the dealership, A, B, C, D, F. And we have a list of approved dealers. We have a list of dealers that you should not buy a car from. And we put that on our website, earloncars.com. That's earloncars.com. So we're a service to help you get started if you're out there thinking about leasing or buying a car, or for that matter, repairing or maintaining a car. By the way, I mentioned Rick. He's been in my dealership for over 25 years, and he is extremely knowledgeable on cars for 25 years ago. Most of you aren't driving a car that's 25 years old, but he stayed on top of it because today's car bears no resemblance to what we drove 25 years ago. But no matter what year car you drive, you call in, you get a little problem, and you don't want to take it into a car dealership or an independent garage and ask a technician, here's my car, fix it, please. Because then you're asking for trouble. You're asking for a big bill, and maybe it doesn't get fixed. Call Rick, give him the symptoms, tell him the problem, and you'll get a free diagnosis. So give Rick a call at 877-960-9960, or you can text him, or me, or Nancy, at 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. Now, I've got some other numbers. I'm not going to give those out now. We got a lot. I think sometimes we have too many ways to reach us, and it's confusing. But let's stick with 877, the telephone number, 877-960-9960. Nancy Stewart is looking at the laptop in front of her here in the studio. And when a call comes in, we favor the telephone call. So if I'm talking like I'm talking now and the call comes through, Nancy will wave at me and we'll stop and we'll take your call at 877-960-9960. Now, I'm going to introduce Nancy, and she's studying her automotive news from me here. And Nancy is a co-founder of the show with me 20 plus years ago. She is also a strong female advocate, and women play a larger part in buying cars than people realize. And for some reason, they're not as vocal. And when we started this show 20 years ago, it was an old guys club. It was just guys calling the show. Now we're 50-50. And that's a good thing because women buy more than 50% of the cars, and Nancy will tell you about that, by the way. And they're becoming more important. And the sad part is the manufacturers and the dealers haven't quite figured that out yet. But statistically, and there have been a lot of measurements of this, the female influence in purchasing cars and how you should design the car more for women, it's been a guy's thing in the past, is becoming more and more important. So any of you manufacturers listening out there or dealers, you better listen. I'll turn the mic over to Nancy now, and she has a few words for you.
Good morning, everyone.
I thought you dozed off there for a minute.
Okay. Hey, listen, it's going to be a great show, so buckle up. We have a whole lot to get to. As Earl mentioned, the Mystery Shopping Report, it's a fabulous and informative part of our show, and you can stay tuned for that. That Mystery Shopping Report, it was done in 2022, and it's from Starling Buick of Stewart, and you're going to enjoy it a whole lot. As far as the ladies are concerned, boys, we've got some exciting news for the ladies. I'm going to tell you, Earl said that I was looking at the automotive news. What I was reading was an article, and it was an article about the auto industry and how they have not connected with women. Not at all. And as Earl said, it has always been a male-dominated industry. But I'll tell you what, it is changing, and we're on a roll. Did you know that this year alone, United States dealerships are allocating an estimated $8.6 billion to connecting with women, getting their attention, treating them like they are part of this financial success that the auto industry is encountering. Why? Because 85% of women are involved in some way in purchasing a vehicle, and sometimes totally independent. And they are doing the footwork, they're doing the homework, they're doing it all. And they have become an important part of this industry, no doubt. And for the auto industry to ignore this, as I always say, it's a financial disaster. So I'll bring you up to date on that article from the Automotive News. Also, we have a number that we can give out if you are on Zoom, and that ID number, it's a meeting ID number, is 926-589-0586. That's 926-589-0586. And Jonathan is right here. And gosh, he has been here for quite some time this morning, working very hard to help make us look good. Thank you very much, Jonathan. So if you call in on that for the meeting on Zoom, you can talk to Jonathan. You can give him your information, and he's the producer of the show, and he'll get your name and your location and put you through to us. So that's pretty exciting. Also, for the ladies, as a promotion, every Saturday morning, what we do is it's a special promotion. It is for the first-time female callers, and again this morning with tradition, $50 for the first 2 new female callers. The
No
first
strings
2.
attached. Unconditional. Is that
Absolutely, unconditional. You can call in and you can ask a question. You can call in and give us some advice. You can tell us what we can do to improve the show. If you want to, you can just say hello. But it is $50 for the first 2 new female callers. That number is 877-960-9960. And you can also text us. You'll need to jot that text number down for the Mystery Shopping Report at 9:30. And 9:30, right, Jonathan? Okay. And that text number is 772-497-6530. Now back. Don't forget your anonymousfeedback.com. That's always a whole lot of fun. And you definitely remain anonymous. Youranonymousfeedback.com. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
And we had a breakthrough in the Automotive News. We have a phone call.
I have to interrupt Earl because we have a female caller, first time, and her name is Tina. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for waiting. Tina, this morning we're giving $50 for the first 2 new female callers, and you're the first female caller. If you stay on the line, you can give Jeremy in our control room your contact information. He'll give that to me, and I will write you out a check for $50 and get that out to you. I'm sure you can use that this time of year.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Can I begin my...
You can. Tina, let me ask you this question. How did you find out about us?
Oh, I've been listening to you for years. Once I moved to Florida, I always tune into different stations. And when I came across you, I said, this is a phone call or at least worth getting up early enough on Saturdays. It's my workout days. I do go to the gym afterwards, but I try to listen to you in the car on the way.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for calling.
Oh, you're so welcome.
What can we do for you?
Well, I recently went to Toyota to get my oil changed to find out that I needed an engine oil pan. And they're estimating 5 hours in my bill. And the problem I had is that the drain plug, the threads have been worn out, and I previously took my car for an oil change to Firestone, and they told me I had the same problem, so they put in a copper gasket on it, and it was holding well because I noticed that the oil was leaking on the ground, and that's what made me go back to them. But I generally try to go to different companies for oil changes, and Toyota was chosen. And now they want to charge me $1,592, and it's
Wow.
5 hours of work. And I'm saying they gave me a loaner for the night, but the part is only 200 and change, 263, and the rest is all labor. Plus, can they reseal that? Can they put a new gasket? When I inquired, the gentleman said that no, once it's done, you can't. You've got to get a whole new pan. So, what should I do?
Hey, Tina, before I give the call to Rick, who can answer the question, what Firestone location did you go
This is
to?
a Toyota dealer.
I'm at Toyota on 441 in Royal Palm, or
Toyota.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now I understand. I didn't hear that part. Okay, Rick.
I would actually, I would want to get a couple of estimates on that for replacing that pan. What model of car do you have and what year?
Oh, it's a 2006 Solara.
Yeah, that labor rate. Whoa, that's way too high. That should be book time, which when they calculate labor, there are books out there that say this is how much time the job should pay.
Yeah.
And book time on that should be like 3 to 3.5 hours. And even at like $200 labor, which a lot of dealerships are really reaching that point now, you should have like $600 labor total, maybe $700 total. And it looks like they're trying to hit you for double that.
Yes.
So, yeah, I would say no, I want a different, you can literally call other dealerships or other independent shops to get a price, tell them you need to have the oil pan replaced, that the threads are
Yeah,
stripped
Gina,
out.
call at least 3 other dealerships. You could call another Toyota dealership. You could call a Firestone. You could call any independent mechanic that you know. But anytime you have a repair over $100 or $200, you should always get at least 3 bids. And then,
Well, what if they have it on the lift and they haven't taken it down? It seems like they drained it already.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what is going on, but it's up on the lift and making me feel that I can't even take it out, plug it up.
You tell them to put some fippage or gasket material, gasket sealer on the drain plug and snug it back in the best it will go and put oil back in the car. Or you tell them, I'm going to have a tow truck come and I'm going to tow my car to another shop to have it repaired. The tow bill would be probably $100 the most, but you're going to save like $500 or $600 in the long run by going to another shop. And any independent shop, any mechanic shop will be able to replace that pan. It's not a big job. It's you just basically it's a little bit of work to get the pan down, clean up the surface on the engine, and install a new pan. But it's not $1,500 worth of work.
Gina, be sure that you go up the ladder a little bit. You're probably dealing with a service advisor who was really a service salesman. You need to talk at least to the service manager there, and perhaps to the general manager there, because you're being taken advantage of, and you need to. If you have something that can't make a decision, you won't get anywhere. But if a general manager or a service manager realizes that you will be making a complaint to the factory, for example, you could report this to the Better Business Bureau. You could report it to Toyota. You could report it to the Channel 5. You could report it to the Palm Beach Post-Times. There's a lot of ways you can rattle their cage. So be sure someone in authority knows that you're serious. And then, like Rick says, you need to let them know you're going to have that car towed unless they give you a reasonable repair. And and then don't take any nonsense from them. They're taking advantage of you.
And Tina, like you were just told about getting, 3 bids on that job, depending upon several factors, it should only take about an hour and a half to 4 hours, like Rick was talking about. And it also, some cars are easier to access that oil pan. Do you agree with that, Rick?
Yeah, there are some cars where the pan is actually above what's called the subframe, and you actually have to unbolt motor mounts and raise the engine up, and it's a lot more work. But an '06 Solara is not one of those. That pan is easily accessible. It is a little bit of work, but it's not that work. It's less than 3 hours.
Okay, so it's easy access on the Solara.
I mean, if my back were in better shape, I could do it in my driveway on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
And he means that, Tina. He definitely means that. And, with a professional mechanic, with the right tools, the complete job, like I said, hour and a half to 4 hours.
So they can surely replug the gasket and keep the oil in there. I'm sure the oil has been drained, though, so they'll have to replace it.
Right. They'll have to put new oil in it, and you would have to pay for that and then pay for the oil when you get the pan replaced. But if you don't want to take the chance with that, you can tell them just put the plug in the best you can and push my car out, because I'm going to have a tow truck pick it up and I'm going to tow it to another shop to have it done.
Okay.
And
I hope I can be forceful. They did order the part, so I'm not sure what's going to happen. That's why I called so early, because I have to check.
Yeah, you're going to need the part, so go ahead and tell them I will pay for the part and I will take it with me. But I'm taking my car somewhere else if you don't drop that labor amount to like 3 hours labor at the most, and maybe $500 to $600 for labor.
Just start talking dollars, because it's price, it's not hours, and you want to get 2 other prices and think the lower price. Don't get confused with hours. Hours, they're not real hours. They're flat rate hours, and they can work on the car for 1 hour and they'll charge you 3 flat rate hours time, which is the way the system works, which is kind of stupid. So when you get your other bids, just be talking how much out of pocket is going to cost me to get this fixed.
Okay. Sounds good.
Did they tell you the condition of your oil pan and gasket?
No, they didn't even show it to me.
Oh, they didn't. No. That's a pet peeve, I believe. Of if a consumer walks in, a prospective customer, whomever, and they're there for some maintenance on their vehicle, and I say, hey, listen, I'd like to have that part. I'd like you to put that part that you're replacing in my trunk. I want to be able to see what they did. So there's more advice.
Yeah, that sounds good. I hope I have a alternative and they work with me. I don't have to get too aggressive. This is Christmas time, and I'm trying to be very patient.
Yeah.
So.
Stay strong, Tina, and stay at it.
Call us back. Let us know how it went, will you, please?
Let your voice be heard.
Thank you very much for taking the call, and you have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you. You do the same. It was great hearing from you. Tina, please spread the word. We're building a platform here for the ladies. They're a huge part of the auto industry, and they're growing. And it's women like you that call in, like on a morning like this, and there's a lot of women who are listening to you, Tina. So keep up the good work and spread the word.
Will do. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. 877-960-9960, and you can text us at 772-497-6530. We're going to stay with the phones. We have another female caller. Her name is Jane, and she is a first-time caller. Good morning, Jane.
Hey, good morning.
Welcome.
How are you all this morning?
Great, Jane. Thank you for the call, and I want to let you know that you won yourself $50 this morning as the second new female caller. If you stay on the line when we're finished talking, you will give Jeremy in our control room all of your information, contact information, and he'll pass it along to me, and I'll get that check out to you.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. What can we do for you this morning?
My husband was listening to you both, and you mentioned about the Costco auto program.
Yes.
So I did call the other day, and I got a member-only price sheet for a Lexus RX 350. And the only question I have is they give you a Costco member-only price, and then on the bottom, of course, there's an asterisk with license, tag, title, which we know that's okay. But then it has a $7.99 dealer fee or $4.99 electronic filing fee. Should I expect to pay those, or is that negotiable?
Those are junk fees, and of course anything is negotiable. The good thing about Costco is they require the dealer to put those junk fees up front on their invoice, and so it really affects the total price. You don't have to buy from that Costco dealer. You could go to another Costco dealer. The rule that Costco has for a approved dealer is that they will offer their Costco members the price that is lower than they will sell that car to anybody else for. So if you're not a Costco member and you go into that dealership, they have a contract with Costco that says that other person that's not a Costco member will have to pay more. So that's the obligation that the Costco dealer has. That doesn't mean that another Costco dealer in town isn't going to have a lower price. So your alternative now is to go to another approved Costco dealer and see how their price is on that exact same car. Chances are that it's still a pretty good price at the first dealer, because what do the two junk fees add up to when you added it to the regular price?
It's about $1,300, $7.99 and $4.99. So
Yeah, that's pretty high.
more.
I would call at least one other Costco approved dealer, and I'd probably call two. And I would also report this to Costco. I mean, they should be advised. They should know about that. But it never hurts to call directly. I'm sure you went online to find that dealer, and you
Yes.
have put your information into Costco, so they know you're shopping, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
what I thought was interesting, it had $7.99 dealer fee or $4.99 electronic filing fee. So it just sounded kind of strange to me that the or was in there.
The or, that doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah. I'm reading it off the sheet, and it's or, and I'm like, okay, well, which one is it?
See, I'll take the lower one, right? I mean, so
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Well, you could we'll take the lower one and then shop it with another couple of Costco dealers. It'll still be a good price, because now that you explained that it's only $4.99. It's not the big number,
both.
unless it was a typographical error. They try to get you for both, but that is a little confusing. But the key thing, if you're buying a Costco through a Costco program, is to keep in communication with Costco, because they will not hold up for any nonsense with the dealer. And if they try to take advantage of one of their members, then they can cancel them in the program. And they don't want to do that, because the dealers get a lot of business from Costco members, and if they get canceled, they don't like that. So communicate with your Costco representatives directly, and they can make a call. They have the names of the Costco representatives that they approved at that dealership. They'll contact that Costco representative directly and say, listen, you're violating the rules here. You have to sell the car at this price, and you can't add that on, or else we're going to have to talk to you about canceling your program. And as soon as they say that, you get their attention.
And they give you like 1 day to make your decision. It's valid through 12/12, which I did it on 12/12. So it was like late in the afternoon. So didn't give you much time.
Well, that's just negotiation on their part. They always try to get you to commit on the price sooner than you want to, so you don't shop around and find a better price. But 9 times out of 10, when a dealer gives you a price, they're not going to raise it 2 days later because you didn't buy on the day they told you to. That's just being sneaky. They're trying to get you to buy before you're ready.
It's such a fun process.
It's the worst experience of any
stand
product, retail product. Car dealers are doing it like they did 100 years ago, and it's a shame. And that's why this show exists, to help people navigate through the minefield of trying to buy a car. It's a terrible experience, unfortunately.
My husband listens to you all the time, and he says, "No, you've got to call Earl and Nancy. You've got to call them." I said, "Okay." So,
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, we're happy that you did.
I'm so thank you so much for your information, and I love your show, and I hope you guys have a nice holiday.
Same to you.
Thank you so much. Spread the word, Jane. Let every woman you know and man that we are here for the ladies.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. You know, there's all kind of news as far as women are concerned in the auto industry. Did you know that women are also driving the shift towards electric and eco-friendly cars? Yes, their preference for sustainability. Yeah, that's what they're looking for, sustainability, and it's shaping how automakers are designing. Designing and marketing towards women. You know, they're starting to pay attention. Our number here is 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Rick, did you have something to add?
Well, we've got some text in if you'd like.
Okay, we'll take Howard's call first, and then Rick is going to take a look at some texts and possibly your anonymous feedback and so many other things. Howard, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Not a nice day today
Yes.
in southern Florida, but we'll wait and it'll be okay.
Yes.
Here's my question. Does it tell you to have a car that as you're driving down, if you get too close to another car, it pulls you away? My car I have a 2017 Camry, and all my car does is it flashes a light or something, but it doesn't pull me away. Now, I know some cars have that capability. Just so you to have that capability.
Kind of. What we do have is the radar cruise control, where if you're operating with cruise control on, and you have set the distance from your car to the car ahead of you, which you got 3 choices, either a short, medium, or longer distance. And if your car gets too close to that person, say they start slowing down, your car will automatically slow down to keep that same distance between you and the car ahead of you. Our automatic braking will kick in to try to prevent an accident at the last moment. Somebody slams on the brakes, and you have the car with the proper safety features in it, with the automatic braking is one of them. Then yes, it will try to stop your car and even apply the brakes at the very last second hard to try to get you stopped.
And this is just a form of preliminary autonomous. It's just
Yes.
They have cars now, of course, as you know, Howard, that are totally autonomous. The Tesla, for example, and they will definitely keep you away from all the other cars because they've got 8 cameras, and anytime they see you getting too close to a pedestrian or a bicycle or another car, it moves the car away.
I have one fast question. Whatever happened to the PCV valve? I know it's in the Toyota, but is it ever replaced?
Actually, not anymore. Most of them now, they did away with that little rattle ball inside them, and the PCVs don't plug up like they used to. So basically, it's simply a vent to get the fumes from the crankcase up into the intake so they can be burned away again. So yeah, it's now become a non-serviceable part. There is no lifespan for it. As long as it's still functioning and working okay, the computer goes with it and says you're good.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, thank you very much.
You're
Good
welcome, Howard.
information.
Have a great
You
weekend.
too.
Okay, our number here is 877-960-9960. And you can also text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget about our meeting ID number. And if you would like to join us on Zoom, you can do the following. The meeting ID number is 926-589-0586. We're going to stick with the phones, and we're going to go to Bob, who's calling us from Lake Worth.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Bob. Welcome.
Good morning. Out running in the 5K, I guess. Huh?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to tell you, I read that finally Amazon is going ahead with the purchase of the Hyundais.
Yeah,
And
expanding to 48 states.
Yes, and I guess Napleton is on the list.
Well, that ought to be interesting.
West Palm Beach is on the list, and he has the dealerships here, right?
That's correct. Yeah, he's got quite a few dealerships.
Right, he's got them in this market, and that would be very interesting to see how the mechanics of that is going to work.
Yeah, you read my mind.
Yeah, well, because even if you get a better deal from a dealer that's out of the area, it's going to cost you more to ship the car.
Sure.
So I would think it might not behoove you to try a location like Atlanta or something like that, even if you're going to save $1,000 or $1,500, because in the long run you may wind up paying more money.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure. Not sure how it's going to work.
Amazon's got their hands full on that. They're going to have a lot of inspecting and a lot of problems with a lot of the dealers they chose. So, and Napleton's probably the number one problem they're going to have. I suspect that Amazon has some sort of ability to fire a dealer that they are not getting cooperation from, kind of like Costco would if you have a program and this is the way you're supposed to obey the rules and give the prices to the customer, and you violate that, then they be canceled. So my guess is Napleton. I just don't see how he can last working with Amazon. Amazon, as you know, is strictly above board, probably one of the best retailers in the world. And for them to be in partnership with Napleton, I just don't see that happening.
Right. I do have a question for Rick. I was going to go get my oil changed. I had a neighbor that was doing it for me. He moved away, and I was astounded as to how much the price has gone up in the last year and a half to get the change the oil in the filter.
Yeah.
So I went online. The funny thing is that I'm going to do it myself. And, I take 5W30. I usually put blended synthetic. And on Amazon, the full synthetic was actually $20 cheaper than the blended. I couldn't believe it. So I bought the full synthetic, and I got a filter coming in next week, and I'm going to do it myself. But I wanted to ask you a question. I have to put in a blended door actuator in the Mustang. And it's got two screws in there, T20s. And I went online and I looked at a YouTube video, and there's something about lining up the gears. Do you know how that works?
I know a lot of AC controls like that, when you're putting in actuators in that, they have to be timed properly so that the computer can control it. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with the Ford Mustang with how that timing might need to be set. What I would do is I would keep checking some of the YouTube videos. I'm sure there's somebody out there that'll explain, how to set that timing properly. And if not, I would check on like some of the repair manuals online, Mitchell or someone like that. And I guarantee one of them is going to have that information on how to get that timed properly, how to set that in the proper position. Because obviously,
does Toyota have those in their cars, blended door actuators?
We do have them, and
Yeah.
usually with ours, you have to set the door to one particular spot when you actually mount the actuator up to it. It's so that the computer can understand where that door is, because otherwise it's going to, if it, say the door is in the middle,
Well, this
and
is for
the
this
computer
is
thinks it's
actually-
all the way to one side, it's going to try to move it the wrong way, and it can break things.
Well, this actuator is actually underneath the steering column on the driver's side. It's not in the door. That's the location of it. It's for the AC unit. It's called a blended door actuator. That's what they call it. But it controls the one of the vents is blowing on the AC is blowing warm, and the other one's blowing cold.
Right.
And I looked it up. It's a common problem in the Mustangs.
Okay.
And I saw a YouTube video on it. And it didn't look like much. You know, the part is only $18, and it looks like it's only going to take me a half an hour.
Oh,
But there
okay.
was something about lining up the gears on there. I was a little,
Yeah, I'd do some more investigation on that just to make sure you've got that procedure down properly.
Bob, do you use Chat GBT? AI?
No, I'm a super senior, so I just.
The reason I say is it is amazing. I mean, I know sometimes these new things get hyped and everybody raves about things. This artificial intelligence, especially Chat GBT, is absolutely amazing, and it gets better every day. It's a point now where with voice recognition, Nancy and I use it all the time, and you can just basically ask it any question, and you would be surprised at the accuracy and the time. If you Google used to be my number one source. And Google, it took a while. Eventually, if you had patience, you usually get a good answer out of Google. But download ChatGPT and then just try it out on a couple things. You will surprise yourself, and you will save yourself a lot of time. They can answer damn near anything.
Okay, I have a question for Nancy.
Okay.
Nancy,
Here I am.
Nancy, do you think that that situation over there with the oil pan, do you think that was gender bias on the pricing?
Well, it's always a possibility. And
when they see a woman come in right away, they figure she doesn't know.
yeah, well, I think it's
anything, and they jack the price up.
yes. I really think that, it's a possibility, but it's a possibility for a man or a woman. And if you're an educated consumer and you're going to get 3 bids, you're ahead of the game. Rick?
I agree.
Hold on a minute, Bob.
I'll let you in on a little secret. I've been working on cars professionally for over 30 years now. And I can honestly tell you that of all the customers I've encountered, women make the more informed decisions than men do. For the simple fact that I understand how cars operate and how everything in them works for the most part. I've just learned this through years and years and years of trial and error and studying. And the average man that walks into an automotive shop has this ego mindset that I'm a man, I understand cars, I know all about them. But I can tell you within a few moments of talking to them whether they actually know anything or whether they just think they do. And I can BS a man and make them think that this is a much bigger, more complicated job simply because I understand what their mindset is.
Are you confessing
and I
that
can
you
nail 'em.
BS our men customers?
No, I'm just telling you that I do have the ability to be evil if I wanted. Because a man's ego will not let them ask those questions that might show that he has not got the knowledge. Whereas a woman coming in, a lot of women, when they have the right mindset, they will come in and they will say, I don't understand what that part does. Please explain it to me. Show me what is wrong with this part of my car. And women will ask questions and learn from it. And women will make informed decisions more than men will.
And
Right.
also,
So
also, Bob.
I'll just leave you with that. But
I get it.
Also, Bob, whenever a woman walks in, I don't care whether she's going to purchase a new car, used car, whether she's there for maintenance, it really doesn't matter. But when she presents herself in a way that she is definitely informed, and I'm not talking about taking, an engine apart. I'm just talking about just a little bit of intimidation, and you can do that easily as a female, and you have complete control. But to answer your question, I think that there's a possibility, and it's a proven fact. You can, you can go to Consumer Report, you can go to the internet, you can go anywhere, and they'll say the same thing. Women do get taken advantage of, but the good news is that this cycle is changing, and that's good because our voices are being heard on so many levels that guess what? They don't have any other choice but to conform to the right way of treating a woman.
Right. Well, just from my past experience, I know already that if you're a senior citizen and you're much older and you go into these places, they right away they try to take advantage of you, especially in the sales department if you're buying a car. Older people are vulnerable to getting a bad deal.
Yes.
So I've had that experience before, and I just thought it's probably the same situation with a woman because the automobile industry has been notoriously male-dominated forever.
Yeah.
yep.
Absolutely, Bob. And you have a valid concern. I won't say it's a complaint, but I just turned 82 years old, and guess what? It's really easy. It's really easy for someone to look down on you, and they could be a year younger, 10 years younger. It doesn't matter. I could go into Publix, and you have a good chance of being taken advantage of. So if you do your homework, you let your voice be heard. I think we're ahead of the game.
I agree. Okay, well, everybody have a great weekend. And
Thank you, Bob. Thanks for the question.
Let's see what happens at Amazon.
Yes,
We're gonna see what
absolutely.
happens at Amazon. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. This article that Earl you shared with me about Amazon, it's amazing whenever you think about Amazon, and everybody has the majority of the consumers has such a great feeling about Amazon and the friendliness and the transparency. So do you think that this too is going to have a huge impact? A consumer's not going to hesitate to join this platform that Amazon is expanding on over 48 states because it's become a household word.
Yeah, it's Walmart, Amazon, Apple. A lot of the very, very first-class retailers are setting the pace, and Amazon is the best of the best, in my opinion. So they've got their work cut out for them. The caller earlier was talking about Napleton being an approved Amazon dealer. I just don't see that lasting. I think we're getting into the breaking point now where the dealers that are not going to play by the rules are going to have to drop by the side, and it's happening slower and slower. There's an article in the Automotive News in 2022 about how these changes were going to be taking place. And here we are in 2024, almost 2025, and they still haven't. But it's happening slowly. And the biggest thing that's happened has been the Amazon move. Walmart is the biggest retailer in the world. Amazon, I think, is the second biggest. So when the second biggest retailer in the world gets serious about something, watch out, car dealers, because things are changing.
Yes, absolutely. I think that Amazon's user-friendly tactics will probably that'd be a poor word to use, tactic, but in theory, Amazon's user friendly. It's just user friendly. I think it's going to spill right over.
Well, the price you see is the price you pay. If you have a product that you don't like, you can return it.
Yeah.
There's no deceit. There's no
Complete transparency.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to hear from Rick in a little bit, but I can see by my X screen the calls are backed up. So we are going to go to Bob, who is calling us from Pompano Beach. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, guys. I heard part of that conversation. That woman had trouble with a drain pan. I don't know exactly what it was. Was it that the drain plug was stripped?
Yes, the threads in the drain pan.
Yeah.
This was on an '06 Solera.
Yeah.
So it's an older car. Had plenty of oil
yeah.
changes done.
I had experience with that many years ago. I commuted into New York City, and I had the oil change every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And sooner, I used to go religiously to one place, it's a dealership. It wasn't Toyota, it was a GMC. Anyway, what I found was very often when they had changed the oil, they used these Class C mechanics. They're not the A class, they're just some guy they hired just to change it, and they stripped the plug on this truck I had, and it was very expensive to replace the pan.
Yeah.
And replace the, like you said, to take the motor mounts out, whatever it was. But I was a social worker, had a couple of kids, only worker, and the guy was very honest with me. He said, "Look, we won't do it at the dealership." He said, and I could put it back in. It's just starting to leak. But if you go to auto supply place, they have these piggyback drains, and the dealership won't do it. It's a liability. But a local mechanic would do it, or you could do it. You reverse the thread, or I don't know how it works, but it's like a plug within a plug. And I had that on there for about 10 years, and it cost me like $8 and maybe a half-hour labor. So I don't know if that woman is still listening, but if she wants to go that route, she can, or she could do it the right way, and it might cost too much more. But anyway, that was my experience.
Yeah, in my years, we have tried several times different things to try to repair an oil pan. But most cases, they wind up leaking. Trying to put a drain plug, once the threads in the pan have been stripped out, the only real solution is to either replace the pan or actually to try to drill it oversized and cut new threads, and then use a piece that goes in like a fitting that would be installed, say, with some sort of sealant so it would stay in permanent, and then would allow you to thread the drain plug back into that. But so many of those, because of the liability of it, if it starts to leak and the customer's engine gets damaged, then we're on the hook for an entire engine.
Well, I don't know exactly how this worked, but apparently, I don't know if they had it threaded or if it went in, whatever it was, a little gizmo they had, and it repaired it. And that car worked for about 10 years. And in fact, one of my people needed a car and a few trucks. I moved down here, and I felt badly when I gave him that. I couldn't use it, so I gave him that truck. And it was still on the road. That was an '89 GMC Jimmy.
Yeah.
And they just recently got off the road with that fix, so it was probably done. But it is a liability. Another thing, too, you have a very good show, but it's kind of sad you have to have that show.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, I have a luxury car. It's a Mercedes. I get one every 3 or 4 years. And about 2 years ago, it was about 4 years old. And I went to, trade it in. And I usually just trade it. I want to go to the bother and the guy came and he checked the car I had in my garage, and I went to get the car, and they went ahead on about $20,000. It was $130,000. They wanted $150,000 for it. It was a fully optioned S-Class, a very nice car, And I just got upset about the whole thing, the way he just put it on at the end. And I was a pretty good customer. As a result, I said, screw this trading in the car. Okay, keep the car. I had the car now for quite a long time, and it works well. And like my wife said, keep it until it breaks down, you know. But a lot of times people get greedy, and if you have a customer, they really don't care that much down here. I don't understand the mentality. But now they're calling me up. They want their business because they're stuck with a lot of cars. And it's sad to see. And the way they treat older people,
Yeah.
male or female, and women as well. It's another sad thing I notice as I get older. I'm 80.
Yeah, I refer to them as victims. There's a certain different classes of people based on education, sex, age, and people that don't have English as their primary language.
Right.
It's very, very difficult to navigate the minefield with these dealers because they do, as you say, take advantage, and there's no enforcement. We have rules and regulations, and they don't get enforced. And as you say, it's a shame this show has to exist, but I like to think we do some good, and things are getting better, slowly.
You guys do a very good job, and what I'm disappointed in is our government.
Yeah.
Not that I give two names about the government very often. They just put that moody person up there.
I
Treat
agree.
them much better, too. I mean, we have people running around, they vote R, they vote D, they vote whatever, and they're so
Yeah.
hopeful. And, you know, go to church, to the synagogue on your day off, but don't worship the government. They can't help you. But shows like yours do help people a lot.
Well, thanks, Bob. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Makes it worthwhile coming in every Saturday.
It really does. I have to say, you guys really. But as a result, I haven't bought a car because I'm so fed up with the whole thing. You know?
For sure.
All right.
Call again, Bob. Thanks very much for the
If I get a
compliment.
Toyota, I'll go up to your place up in wherever you live. You're up in northern Florida. I'll grab one up there. A new Highlander I happen to like.
Oh,
Fabulous.
Take care now.
thanks,
Bye-bye.
Bob.
Thank you, Bob. All of us here at Earl on Cars, thanks you for the compliment. We all try real hard to get to, what you're interested in, and week in, week out, I tell you, you are an important part of the show. Without you guys out there, we wouldn't be here, and we all thank you, especially this time of year. You think about things and how thankful you are. Some of us have a tendency just to complain and, so on and so forth. You know what I'm talking about. I'm guilty of that at times. So, Rick, you were about to say something?
Yeah, Earl, when Amazon starts selling these Hyundai cars, if you don't like it, do you think you'll be able to just return it by taking it back to Kohl's or to the local UPS store?
That's a great question. I think if I were going to guess, I think Amazon would have a rule that they would take care of a customer that had been razzle-dazzled by one of the dealers, in which case they would probably cancel the dealer. So I think they're going to have to kind of, if I don't know how many Hyundai dealers there are in the United States, but I think after Amazon gets their system set up, there'll probably be half as many, dealers. You don't need that many dealers. I mean, right now you got a dealer. It's like gas stations and banks. There's one on every street corner. And you don't need that many. You're talking about a high-priced product. Average price of a new car now is between $40,000 and $50,000, and so if you have to go 20 miles further to buy a vehicle, you're talking about a lot of money. So it's worth going another 20 miles. So I think the ranks will be thinned out. Amazon will have it their way, and life will be good.
To be fair, that comment actually came from Johnny Z. Fradley on our YouTube channel here.
Oh.
I thought that was pretty good, though. If you don't like the car, it just doesn't fit right, just take it back to Kohl's and return it there. Yeah. Let them worry about it.
Well, we have that guarantee at our dealership. I mean, we have an unconditional 7-day money-back guarantee. So some dealers that we do it, Most dealers don't, but Amazon does. And you know, we try to model our dealership after the better retailers. I mean, I look up to Apple, I look up to Walmart, I look up to Amazon. I steal a lot of ideas from these very advanced retailers that know what they're doing. Going into an Apple store for me is a pleasure. I mean, I love to go into. I love to buy something on Amazon because I feel totally safe about it. And once you have a consumer that feels totally comfortable with dealing with you, you got a customer for life.
Exactly.
Very comforting. Real quick, I have a text message that just came to me from a young lady who's listening to the show, but she prefers to text. And Maxine asks if she decides to buy her leased vehicle, do you know if the sale price is negotiable? Maxine, everything is negotiable. Earl, your thoughts?
Well, you actually have a option, and that is a fixed price. The danger is not buying it less than that. The danger is buying more than that, because most of the dealers, when they are trying to buy your off-lease car, because based on market conditions in the past few years, the off-lease cars have been bargains. The option price. So it's a legal part of the contract when you lease a car that there's a specific price, 3 years or 4 years, whatever the length of your lease, that you have the legal right to buy it at that price, not a nickel more, other than government fees, tax and tag. But the dealers will add in junk fees and other fees to inflate the price. But it's illegal, so that's one thing you want to be afraid of. But yeah, always check to see what your option price is, and always be sure that the dealer that is handling the transaction does not mark it up by anything other than government fees.
Great answer. Okay, Maxine, I hope that we helped you, and I also hope that you may call the show someday. Our number here is 877-960-9960, and you can also text us at 772-497-6530. YourAnonymousFeedback.com. Take advantage of that, and you want to stay tuned for our Mystery Shopping Report. That's always fabulously done by our mystery shopper, Agent Lightning. She has done a very, very great job for years, and she did another one. We're going to stay with the phones. We'll get to Rick in a couple of minutes, and we are going to go to Jake. Thank you so much for your patience, Jake. Jake's calling us from Boca.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hi, I really like your show.
Thank
You know, when I've noticed the last few callers, they were talking about dealers. They're absolutely correct. And I'll tell you, I'll never take my wife to actually sit down and purchase the car again. I'll take her to test drive, but she's too emotional, and she doesn't want to hurt the guy's feelings. I'm telling the guy, I've been here 3 hours already. How long does it take to get a price? Sit down with the finance guy. And she said, relax, David. You don't want to, and I say to her, come on, let's go. Enough already. But she feels like she just can't talk bad to the guy. So I'm never going to, with the next car I get, which will probably be a Toyota or a Lexus or something, I'm just going to test drive it, and that'll be that. I'll go back and discuss with the guy.
What's up with that,
prices.
Jake?
I don't know. She's a special ed teacher, so maybe it's just bred into her. I don't know what it is. So anyway, we were talking about tires. I noticed a lot of the tires, they're all synthetic now. They got these. You remember in the old days, they used to have some rubber in them. Now I don't think they have any real rubber. It's all like oil-based or synthetic. So am I still going to see those cracks and stuff in my tires? Because I got a 19 BMW I bought for my birthday in March of 19. And the tires still have, I don't put many miles, maybe 3,000-4,000 a year. But I'm not seeing any cracks in them anymore. Are these tires can I still anticipate cracks in the tires like the old days when they dry?
Hey, Jake, before Rick answers that question, let me tell you, you need to pick up yourself a mystery shopping report because there's all kinds of information in it on tires, everything. Rick?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, tires, like everything else on the cars, the quality has been increasing to the point of they're finally figuring out new ways to fix these problems that they've had for years. Dry rot cracks on tires. A lot of shops use that to basically bully you into buying new tires, even when it's just tiny little surface cracks. They're like, "Oh no, that's not safe. That's not safe," which, it's a gray area. So the manufacturers now have just reached the point. They've come up with these new polymers, these new formulas for making the tires are lasting longer. They're surviving impacts on the road, damage on the road that old tires they'd have gotten bubbles and burst. And now we don't have those same blowouts. We don't have a lot of those issues happening. The safety of these tires has come way up. So yeah, the price is going up too. I mean, believe me, their tires are very expensive anymore, but you're actually getting some value there. So yeah, you're not going to see those cracks as much anymore.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Also, one last thing. I was looking on the Toyota website, and I really like that Venza, the Venza car.
Yep.
Is that car based on another car's platform? Like, you know how you guys sometimes you share with other makes and models or even cars and stuff? Or is that like completely brand new through Toyota? Because I really like that body style, and it's only 183 inches long, so it'll fit nicely in my garage.
Yeah. Venza, actually, quite a few years ago, Toyota came out with the Toyota Venza based on the Camry platform. They basically took a Camry and blew it up like a balloon into the Venza to make it like a small SUV. And they were really nice cars, but for some reason, they just didn't sell well. So Toyota stopped them after only like 5 or 6 years. And then as we started getting more hybrids, they decided to resurrect it. So yeah, it's basically a Camry hybrid at this point that has been brought up into an SUV. And yeah, they're an incredible car. As a matter of fact, Jonathan drives a Venza. He's our show's producer. And they're probably one of the best family small SUV crossovers like that you can find. I mean, it's just, they're an awesome car. But
Thank you.
It did come from the Camry originally.
Okay, thank you guys again. I love listening to your show. I'm so happy I found you again.
Oh, thank you so much, Jake. Thank you for that. And I really think that you and your wife can truly work together on purchasing a vehicle. I do. I feel real positive.
Well, if I told you we spent from 1 o'clock until 7:30 at night buying the last Mercedes, would you believe me?
Yep.
Well, I would believe you, but I think you can cut that time in half if the two of you could, come to some sort of a happy medium. What do you think about that?
I hope you're right. I think after 44 years of marriage, I think we probably could.
Oh, I think you're right. Thank you so much
you
for the
very
call.
much.
You were a delight. And tell your wife we said hello.
I will.
All righty. Thank you. 877-960-9960. Or you can text us at 772-497-6530. And we're going to stay with the phones. We're going to talk to David. And for John and Marty, please hang on. Good morning, David.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. I have a question for Rick today.
Okay.
He's helped me quite a bit in the past with diagnosing problems on my Prius. So it's a Prius. I'm the original owner. It's a 2012. It has 185,000. So the car runs just like new, except lately it's got an intermittent problem. When you start it up in cold weather, which we have in New Jersey now, the motor knocks like crazy. And then, it stops and runs fine. And then next morning when you do it, it could possibly do it again, but it's a really loud knock that keeps on going. I have a recording that I could try to play for you.
I'm probably about 80% certain that I can tell you what's going on. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be bad news.
That's what a dealer says.
Yeah, what happens with the Prius when they get older like that, the higher mileage on the engine, they start getting a little bit of a warpage in either the block or the cylinder head, because it's an aluminum cylinder block and aluminum cylinder head with a metal gasket in between them for the head gasket, and they start to leak coolant into the cylinder as the car is sitting overnight. This happens even in the warm weather down here in Florida. We see a lot of it. And what'll happen is when you park the car at night, the cooling system is all pressurized up to high pressure. And as the car is cooling down, it hits a certain point where the coolant starts to leak into that cylinder. And when you start the car in the morning, this usually will happen with number 2 or number 3, sometimes both of them. The coolant that has leaked down into that cylinder, when it tries to start up and run, that will mix in with the air and the gas, and the cylinder will not fire. So it will misfire and knock for up to a minute maybe, and then it will clear itself out. And unfortunately, the only way to fix that is to either replace whichever part is warped, which is a huge bill, or replace the engine with a used engine. It's something that you can kind of live with for a while until it gets a lot worse, and eventually it's going to fail completely, but that could be 20, 30,000 miles more, or you could try to have it repaired. And the way to have this verified is the mechanic would actually pull the spark plugs out of the engine and run a borescope. It's a little camera on a flexible wand, basically, and they'll pressurize the cooling system and run that borescope camera down in, and you can actually see the marks on the cylinder and sometimes even watch the coolant dripping very slowly, and you'll see the little drips of fluid coming into the cylinder and dripping down the cylinder walls. It's something I've diagnosed, 40 or 50 or even 100 of them in the last 5 or 6 years that this starts occurring.
Okay. So I know that it started at, I put a lot of miles now on the car, and it started at about 140, and now I'm up to 185. And I know coolant is leaking out of in the reservoir. I don't see any coolant missing.
Really?
And I've changed it. I've had the dealer change it already twice, the coolant, because I like to do that. Yeah, I don't see any missing. That's why they said the same thing as you, but then I'm starting to wonder how come I don't see any coolant missing.
Now that is kind of odd, because it takes a while before you'll see enough of it go down to really be noticeable.
Well, it doesn't do this. It doesn't do this all the time. It might only do this once or twice a month.
Oh, okay, all right.
And only in the cold weather.
Ah, all right. You may have something else going on there. I would then be looking at possibly the coolant temp sensor maybe getting an intermittent issue. Because if it's not reading the proper temperature, it's reading it as being higher than it might be, then you might not be getting enough fuel in there to burn properly. But again, that's something that the only way to really to verify that is you'd have to have a scan tool hooked up and be looking at that sensor when it occurs. God, that can be a tough one to figure out at this point, because it's so once or twice a month. That's pretty intermittent for sure.
In fact, I had a hard time getting a recording of it because it does it so often, and then it'll go the whole summer and not doing it. And like I said, it started at 140, and I already have 185.
Yeah.
So then my question to you is, how long more am I going to have on the motor if it's what you thought it was originally?
Well, if it was the coolant leaking in, you'd be getting that you'd get almost every morning. It would be acting up like that.
No.
So if it's not doing that, then no, that's not the issue. Yeah, you're in pretty good shape on that one then.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a tough one, because it's so intermittent. That would be really hard without just guessing and throwing parts at it. My answer really would be just kind of wait until it starts to get a lot worse so that you can actually get it pinpointed. Because unfortunately, the other answer would be just start throwing parts at it, and that can get really expensive.
Right. Okay. But otherwise, everything was fine on this car, so we'll see what happens.
I'm surprised at actually the whole conversation, because Prius is probably arguably one of the most reliable cars on the planet. And it's, to hear about a chronic problem like this. Of course, it is an older vehicle with a lot of miles, but I'm still surprised that it has this type of a chronic issue.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for the call.
Yep. Thank you very much, son.
Thank you,
Have a
David.
good day. Yes.
We're going to go to John in Palm City. Thank you for your patience, John.
Good morning. I have a good story about women doing their homework. My daughter's friend from college always had purchased Camrys. She's had since 2012, about 20 of them. And she's going to buy a new Camry, but she's a little disappointed that there's no more V6 3.5-liter engine. So she checked into it, and the only thing is now she doesn't know whether to get the two-wheel or the four-wheel. She lives on Long Island. She did the homework about the engine, the electric motor. There's two of them on the two-wheel drive, 2.5 liter, and the four-wheel drive is an extra motor which shoots it up to 232 miles, 232 horsepower. Now, I told her since Long Island there's snow, she should consider the four-wheel drive, and the best way is to drive one at the dealer, which the dealer also rents them. He said he'll give her a good deal on a rental. She maybe take it as much as a week and try the four-wheel drive, which she's never owned before. And I want to just see what Rick thinks, the two-wheel drive versus the four-wheel drive. And incidentally, that car gets 44 miles per gallon combined, which is just fantastic. But I want to know Rick's opinion, two-wheel versus four-wheel. If it was down here in Florida, for sure I would say two-wheel drive, but I want to see what Rick thinks.
Okay. Hey, that's a great report, John. Thanks so much for the good news. Rick?
Four-wheel drive all day long.
Oh, okay.
She's in the snow, the ice, basically it's an all-wheel drive, so it's an all-track system. The computer can control the power going to all four wheels individually. So way, head and shoulders, way safer and better control in those slippery conditions. All-wheel drive all day long.
Well, one other concern that she has, she really digs into it heavily. She thinks that the feeling on the pedal is softer. It's with the hybrid, it's a different braking system than she's used to on her. She has a 2019 Camry now. Do you think there's a lot of difference? There's quite a electric motor that operates the brake system, and the pedals feel softer. Is any comment to Rick on that pedal soft?
Yeah, it's a totally different system, because when you first step on the brakes in a hybrid, what happens is it's not actually applying the hydraulic brakes to squeeze the pads and slow the car down with the actual brakes. The first thing it's doing is reversing the electric motors into generators and creating electricity to go back and charge the battery with. But at the same time, what's known as the electromotive drag, it's the drag created on the wheels, slows the car down. So you're actually using electric power to slow the car just through that dragging force, and you don't use the brakes as much. So the brakes on a hybrid can last twice as long as the brakes on a normal gasoline car, because you only start applying those hydraulic brakes down towards the very end of the stopping. So yeah, it's, if you've ever been in a hurricane in Florida, you had to use a generator, and you plug something in on the generator and you hear it go from whir to whir. That's the electromotive drag that slows it down.
It's even
and
more,
they use that.
It's even more pronounced and an all EV. I mean, Nancy and I both drive EVs, and we virtually never touch the brake. I mean, it's all electromotive force.
Yep. So yeah, it'll feel different because it's a very different system, but again, it's safer, it improves fuel economy, and it makes your brakes last longer. So it's a win all the way around.
Well, I'm very happy that Rick answered the question about four-wheel drive, and I'm also so proud of a female that does her homework and checks into all the different aspects, and that's a fabulous thing in my opinion, and it goes on Nancy's side and saying the women know much more than the average man.
Education is key.
Yeah, that's a great report, John. I really appreciate that, and congratulations to your daughter. And you know, it is just, it's happening more and more by female buyers, whether they lease, whether they buy, whether they're getting their car maintained. There's more of us that are voicing, you know, what we want and how we want it, and it doesn't mean that you've got to have a knocked down, dragged out. You can definitely, you know, obtain what you want by just being, like most ladies are, soft and understanding.
Congratulations to the females.
Thank you. Thank you very much, John. Thanks for being so faithful to us and listening to the show all the time. John's been with us since the beginning. It's amazing, the number of years he's been with us and called us. Okay, we're going to go to Marty, and Marty, too, is a regular caller, and he's calling us from North Palm Beach. Or no, he's calling from West Palm Beach. Hi, Marty.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I got a thing. I've got to ask Earl something, and I know Earl's not going to agree with me, but it's a good way to have a discussion. With Amazon now selling cars, and the way I buy cars, I've never gotten the right price online. And if they ever give me the price that I end up paying online, that means I paid too much. Now, Earl is probably not going to agree with me on that, but I've never been able to get an online price that's the bottom line.
Well, but the fact is you have the opportunity to shop and compare. The beautiful thing about online shopping is that if I don't buy everything from Amazon. I go to Amazon first, and Amazon actually has different sellers on Amazon, and they will give you an Amazon recommended price, and then they will say other prices. So you can actually shop within Amazon and actually get a lower price than maybe the Amazon price, because other sellers, anybody that wants to sell on Amazon can sell. So it isn't the fact that Amazon always has the lowest price. It's that Amazon gives you the right to shop and compare. No one expects a business to say, I'm going to have the lowest price on all my products all the time. If they say that, they're lying to you. So what you want a business to do is say, this is my lowest price. Here it is, out the door, no surprises, no junk fees, and this is my price. Now, if it's not a price you like, shop and compare it with somebody else, and then buy from the lowest place that you can find. So that's what I like about Amazon. There's no car dealer, there's no Walmart, there's no Amazon that's always going to have the lowest price. But all I look for is the real price, the out-the-door price without any games.
Now, how are they going to, I don't know if you know this yet, how are they going to work the price on the car? Is that going to be a fixed price?
Yes. Absolutely, yeah. That's the whole thing. If you have a wobbly price, that's what we have now. You don't know if you want to buy a 2025 Honda Accord, and you go to 6 different Honda dealers, you get 6 different prices. I mean, that's confusing. It's time consuming. It's wasting your time. Because dealer A will say, if you get a better price from dealer B, come back to me and I'll give you a better price, and let the games begin. But all you want to know is this is the best price I'm going to get from this company, Amazon, Walmart. I mean, you don't negotiate with Walmart, you don't negotiate with Apple, you don't negotiate with Amazon. You get the best price, and then you take that price and try to find a cheaper price somewhere else. And that's what marketing is all about. That's what the freedom of being able to shop and compare prices. That's what they take away from you, the car dealers. They take that freedom away from you because they won't give you a price unless you agree to buy it at that time. They give you the price. They say, if you leave tomorrow, the price is going to be higher.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be very interesting to see how that works.
Yeah.
Because is that going to work with me? Well, first of all, I don't want a Hyundai anyways.
Well, it isn't just Hyundai. I mean, this is the beginning. I assure you, maybe not in the next 5 years, or maybe even not the next 10 years, but before 20 years, I'll stick my neck out. In 20 years, all cars will be sold at fixed prices. It'll be like an Amazon kind of a thing. Shop and compare. And that isn't to say that different people won't be selling the same car, but they will not be giving you a phony price that they jack up secretly with junk fees when you go into the business office or when you negotiate.
Yeah. Well, if the legislature is like it is in Florida, I don't know if that's ever going to change.
Well, ever is a long time.
That's right. Yeah.
But it
I
will.
I go by my buying time. So far, nobody has agreed to the new laws, and everybody's got addendum stickers.
Yeah.
And then when you go into the finance office, you got more charges.
Yeah.
So
You're right.
so right now it's still the Wild West.
It is. It really is, and that's the reason we maybe at least that way we can do the show. We're having fun on the show, so as long as the crook's out there, we're going to be doing the show. So when everybody gets honest, we'll have to go home.
Hey, hey Marty, let me ask you a question before you go. Do you, in most cases, use Amazon?
I use Amazon for certain items. Yeah, if it's an item that I can't get anywhere else, I'll check Amazon's price and I'll check Walmart's price.
Yeah.
Or
great idea.
Target's price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Walmart's really aggressive now, and I've done the same thing. And you can be lulled into complicity because Amazon makes it so easy that sometimes you say, "Oh, the hell with it! I'll go ahead and buy it." But you need to take the time to check with Walmart. Walmart is very aggressive, and I've beaten Amazon prices on several occasions with Walmart.
Yeah, we learned to do some research and found out to be very true. The way you're doing it and what Earl just said. So you have to be careful no matter where you go.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. My wife bought something on Amazon and wanted to return it. Amazon would not let us return it at either Kohl's or either at Whole Foods. They had to have a UPS truck come to the house to pick it up.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They would not allow the normal easy return.
Yeah.
And it just so happened you had to be home to give them the item.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very inconvenient.
Yeah.
I told my wife, don't ever buy something from Amazon that you can't return right at the store.
Yeah. No, that's true.
You got to be careful.
They're not perfect by any means, but I return with I guess maybe I'm home a lot of the time, but when we return a package, it's really convenient for us to have UPS come by and pick it up.
Yeah, but just the idea that we didn't realize that was the rule on that item.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good rest of the weekend and a good holiday.
Thanks, Marty. Same to you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Marty. Thanks for being part of the show. we took our last call, and I just want to mention something before Rick goes on. He's got probably a text from Anne Marie and so many other spots. I'm going to read you something from the Consumer Report. I got an update this morning from Consumer Report, and due to the reliability that is so below average, can you imagine? Consumer Report has removed its recommendation 8 models. They no longer recommend them, and number one is Audi, and the other is BMW, Ford Escape, the hybrid, Hyundai Santa Cruz, Kia, the Lincoln, the Mazda. This
You don't mean all models, do you?
This is amazing. This is the Audi Q8.
Yeah.
And the Ford Escape hybrid, the Hyundai Santa Cruz, the Kia EV6. So go to the internet and check that out. And like I said, because reliability was so below average, they just had to, remove them from recommendations. Yes,
wow,
Rick?
that's pretty sad because personally, the Hyundai Santa Cruz, I think that's a pretty awesome looking vehicle. The guy that designed
that's a nice
the shape of that car, the look of it.
I agree with you.
He knocked it out of the park. That's a beautiful car.
It is.
It looks awesome.
The aerodynamics, the whole thing is
and
quite
unfortunately,
stunning.
beneath the skin, it's a rotten apple.
Okay.
That's too bad.
We'll leave you with that. Rick is going to take over, and he is going to share some texts with us and some FaceTime, YouTube, and he's got some. Are you taking care of anonymous feedback?
Yep.
Okay, great.
First one we're going to have is Anne Marie's text.
Good morning, Anne Marie, and welcome.
And she starts right off, good morning. I'm hoping you may have an answer because I haven't a clue. Why is the Tesla Cybertruck so angular like a modern battleship? All the other vehicles on the roads have curves in their design. Why doesn't the Cybertruck?
Well, because it wanted to be different, and there's over 1 million people that like it because they're on the road now. Elon Musk is an unusual guy, to say the least, and he thought he wanted to build something that was totally different and didn't look like any other truck, and he found a niche market. Pretty big niche market because he's selling quite a few of those Cybertrucks, including the one that Nancy and I have. We get a lot of comments and a lot of criticism. Either you like a Cybertruck or you hate it.
Yep. And I got to admit, they've kind of grown on me a bit. They look neat.
Let me ask you this, Rick. As far as the Cybertruck is concerned, wouldn't it be difficult, as Anne Marie referred to, as, being more curvy instead of this crazy-looking Cybertruck, because it is wild-looking? Is it because it would be difficult because of what the Cybertruck is made out of, the stainless steel, to shape it into what other people think it should be?
That is why that is one of the angular designs, because it's made of the same steel that the SpaceX ships or the rocket ships are made out of. It's thick, heavy stainless steel. So to curve that in the way you would a composite material or plastic, you couldn't do it. So.
It would be a lot more difficult, but
it would be
I think
costly.
they could accomplish it if they wanted to. But personally, I think it's more your answer, Earl. I think it's the idea that they just wanted something that was going to stand out.
Yeah.
And by putting those sharp, angular lines, it breaks the mold. Because anymore, when you look at cars on the road, it's hard to distinguish a Lexus from a Toyota, from a Chevy, from a Ford, from a Hyundai, a Honda. So many of them all look the same.
Yeah.
And if you can't see the emblems on the car, you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But you see a Cybertruck from a mile away, you can recognize that thing because it is so distinctive.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe what Elon was trying to do is create something
Sure.
that the moment you see it, you know what it is.
Definitely. But
And
it is definitely, Rick has a good point, and boy, I'll tell you what, I can see a Cybertruck coming for, as Rick said, a mile away. And boy, it doesn't matter, if you're flying under the radar, forget about it. Because if you're in a Cybertruck, it's like walking a puppy.
Yep.
Everybody wants to talk to you and ask about this mysterious Cybertruck. But also, Rick, I truly believe that it is it's costly and impractical to, what we were talking about, the shape of it.
I think so. Yeah.
And Marie, thank you for the great question.
Okay, and this one is from Bob. He says, "Good morning. Are many Crown vehicles, Toyota Crowns, being sold? If not, how long before they're stopped and before Toyota decides to stop producing them here, would it be the same as the CHR? Thanks, Bob."
Well, they're building the Crown in Japan, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why there are so few here. I think that once they build a manufacturing plant for Crown in the United States, there'll probably be a lot more.
Yeah. I think having it take over for the Avalon, it's an expensive car, but I think they're going to catch on pretty soon. And we're going to start seeing a lot more Crowns on the road very soon, I think. Okay, now we're going to go over to some of the anonymous feedback from Incognito here. And this one, I got to read this one.
Oh, boy.
So basically, Earl has wasted another salesman's time with his mystery shops, and he lost the possibility, he meaning the salesperson, lost the possibility of a good up for this crap. By the way, Earl Stewart Pontiac had addendum stickers and bogus dealer fees on his new cars back in the day.
Well, the nice thing about telling the truth and being candid, yes, we did.
Mm-hmm.
I was an evil dealer back in the days. I had the junk fees and bait and switch advertising. I did everything about the way. In fact, I was even sneakier, I think, than some of the dealers are today. But I learned it was the wrong way to do it. And I learned how to mend my ways and be more successful by being honest with my customers. So, yeah, I confess that Stewart Pontiac, we had a lot of bait and switch advertising. One of my favorites was we would order a Grand Prix, if you remember the Pontiac Grand Prix, and we would order Grand Prix. Back in those days, in the 60s and 70s, you could order cars without air conditioning, without tinted glass. There were very few accessories. So I'd order a stripped Grand Prix, and I would put it on the showroom floor. I would sell it for $4,995, but I had no air conditioning, no tinted glass, no power steering, no power brakes, nothing. And the person would come in, I'd say, well, you can't buy this for $49.95, but I can sell you this one that's only $10,000. And but it's got the air conditioning, it's got the power brakes. So that's the kind of nonsense that I did. I feel ashamed of myself when I think of what I did, but that's the way everybody did it back then.
Yeah.
As far as wasting the going flat, fast forward to today, I'm wasting a salesman's time because he's trying to take advantage of a customer. I'm trying to expose the fact that you're taking advantage of customers to protect the customers, and that's the reason this show exists. So I don't apologize at all for wasting that time.
But you have confessed, hence to your anonymous feedback, Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer. And if you pick that book up, it doesn't matter when it was written, when you buy it, just that you buy it. Put it on the shelf because you'll always refer to it. It's not outdated. Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer. That is the book that Earl decided to write quite some time ago. You can go to Amazon or you can go to Earl on Cars. And by the way, all the proceeds from the purchase of that book It goes, that's $19.99, $19.99. That goes straight to Big Dog Ranch. So take advantage of that. Pick up that book, and all your questions, they'll be answered. Okay. Rick.
Now this one from Incognito, I'm going to try to paraphrase
Rick,
this a little.
Excuse me, we're going to take one more
Alrighty.
from Incognito. So you go ahead with that, and then we're going to jump forward and get to the mystery shopping report.
Okay. This person says, in May of 2023, I bought a new 23 Toyota Tacoma from a dealership, and I'm considering refinancing due to the high monthly payments. He say, I noticed several questionable fees and discrepancies from the original sale. Apparently, the MSRP on the vehicle was $36,440, and the dealership added more than $10,000 in optional markups, which were presented as mandatory fees. They say apparently these fees were delivery, processing, handling fees, and they apparently, as they added it up, they came up with a total sale price of $64,356.
And Rick, was the market adjustment included in that as a fee?
Apparently, there were quite a few extra fees. They don't list them all here, but they say they had a $10,000 trade-in, and they had to finance $44,253 for a truck that had an MSRP of $36,440. And they're saying now they've contacted several lawyers, but they say they only take personal injury cases. And I was wondering if you know of any lawyers who specialize in consumer protection or car dealership issues. Could you recommend someone who would be willing to take my case? Alternatively, I'm wondering if you would be willing to accompany me to the dealership and perhaps assist in solution. I'm hoping to address these deceptive practices and potentially reach an agreement with the dealership, but I feel like I need expert guidance to move forward. I really appreciate any advice or help you can provide. Thank you for your time and consideration.
We have a lawyer that we've used from time to time. He works out of New York and Florida. He's licensed in both places. His name is Justin Lin. And if you would text us, I could give you his contact information. Text us at, Nancy, give him the text number, would you please?
The text number is 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. And you can call that number, as Earl said. Earl, do you have anything else to say? We're running out of time for the mystery shopping report. You want to move forward?
I think we probably should, yeah.
Yeah, take advantage of the text number 772-497-6530, and you too can vote on the mystery shopping report from Starling Buick of Stewart. And this mystery shopping report was done in 2022.
Yeah, we slipped an old one in on you because it was a good one, and we had a little confusion about our current mystery shopping report, and so I apologize for that. But most of you probably haven't heard this, and it's an interesting report. I think you'll enjoy listening to this. Mystery shop of Starling Buick in Stewart, Florida, and I'll be speaking in the first instance if I were Agent Lightning, who actually did this report. About a year ago, car business was already feeling the inventory pinch. In June of 2021, prices were going up, but they were far from the peaks we are seeing today. My dealership was raising prices, but we still had a few months to go before going all the way to MSRP. My dealership, I'm speaking about Earl Stewart Toyota. No one was running ads for big discounts back then except for Carl's Buick in Stewart, Florida. Their website stuck out like a sore thumb, advertising a $5,000 discount off a brand new 2021 Buick Enclave. Remember, this shopping report was done back in 2022. Of course, that got our attention, and we mystery shopped them. Agent Lightning actually got the discount, most of it anyway. There were the usual junk fees added to the price, and to be accurate, the discount was actually a GM rebate, so the $5,000 was no skin off Carl Buick's teeth. In other words, the factory discounted it, and it didn't come out of Carl Buick's pocket at all. Prior to last year's mystery shop, Carl's Buick hadn't performed too well. They used bait and switch ads with unobtainable rebates and, as I mentioned, the standard slate of junk fees. This week, Agent Lightning found out that Carl's Buick is no more. A little research revealed that Carl Fisher retired last year and sold his Carl's Buick to a little-known small group known as the Starling, S-T-A-R, Starling Automotive Group. Starling consists of Alan Starling and his three sons, Andrew, Jack, and Walker. They have 6 dealerships, including the newly acquired Carl's Buick. 5 dealerships are in Florida, 1 is in South Carolina. It's so exciting to test the waters in a brand new dealership or a mostly brand new dealership. It's been 6 months under new ownership, so we can expect some changes. New ownership means new management, new culture, new ads, new tactics. The changes can be good or bad. For the sake of our listeners on the Treasure Coast, let's hope they're good. So here's the report. I arrived at noon. I'm Agent Lightning. I was greeted by a customer service lady at the front desk. I told her I was in the market for a new car and wanted to take a look at what they had in stock. The lady introduced me to a nearby salesperson named Lee. Lee said he would be more than happy to assist me today. We shook hands and he took me to his work area. Lee had an extensive battery of questions to ask me about my preferred vehicle. I answered everything to the best of my ability, and we determined that the perfect vehicle for me was a 2022 Buick Encore GX Select 4-wheel drive. Lee asked for my license and walked me outside to the side lot to find the car. His sales manager, Corey, came outside to meet us. He had the key to the Encore for me. The MSRP was $27,780, which included $50 credit because there was no heated seats. Lee said that as soon as the chips became available, he would call me to arrange to have them installed, but he had no idea how long that would take. We test drove the Encore. Due to to a lot of construction, our excursion ended up taking over 40 minutes. Lee was apologetic. We returned to the dealership, and Lee asked what other vehicles I was considering. I said I was also looking at Ford Escapes. I asked Lee if they were selling below MSRP. He was really upfront with me and said they were adding $3,000 to MSRP because of the car shortage. But he added that he would still try to get me a good deal and keep me from buying elsewhere. Lee said that other dealers were selling their cars for $10,000 to $15,000 over MSRP. I said, yikes, and then told him to get me a good deal. Lee said he needed to get the numbers from Corey. He was gone for 15 minutes, returned with a worksheet. The top line was MSRP. $250 rebate came off, but then the price started to go up. They added $3,000 market value adjustment, MVA they called it, $121 in taxable fees, and $899 dealer fee. These are all junk fees. Starling's Buick's price was $4,000 over MSRP, $4,020 to be precise. Lee asked me what I was thinking, and I said I was thinking I wasn't paying $4,000 over MSRP. He asked if I would do business with him today, if he could get Corey to split the difference with me. So the games began. I said, I don't know. Lee asked me what it would take, so I told him to get my out-the-door MSRP or less. He said he left to speak with Corey again. Back and forth, back and forth. A few minutes later, both men came back. Corey said he understood, and I wanted to look at another car. I shook my head. I said I wanted to discount the Encore we're working on. Corey said I should drive another car that might work better for my budget. I said I wanted to take this car work in my budget, make it work in my budget. Corey countered that he didn't even know if I was serious about about buying this car. Now he's getting rude and abusive. He said that if I could show I was serious by giving him a deposit and letting him run my credit, he would go to his general manager and see if he would remove the $3,000 market adjustment. I mean, this is hostility here going back and forth. I balked at this. He said he knows I was also considering Fords and told me that Ford is making their cars, marking their cars up 10, 20, even 30,000 over a sticker, and he's just doing 3,000. I shrugged my shoulders and said sorry and walked the heck out of there. So there you I won't ruin or prejudice your vote by giving you my opinion, but I think you can tell by my tone of voice what my opinion is, and we need to vote on that. And I like to grade on the curve because, as I always say, Florida is a bad place to buy a car. South Florida is especially a bad place to buy a car. And if we gave everybody Fs in South Florida, there'd be no car dealerships to sell cars. So we grade on the curve. If they're not so good, now we give them a C instead of an F. And so look at what is average in Florida, which is not good, and base your vote on Starling, Buick, or Stewart on an average, and shoot your votes in, and we'll read them on the air.